Before episode 3 aired, Leslye Headland proudly leaned into the meme of the Acolyte becoming the gayest Star Wars.
Because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that?
But people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly...
You're offended?
Into it. No.
And then it happened. The episode released and the internet was set ablaze faster than the lesbian witch cult's Capitol Hill autonomous zone.
Wait, how did May do all that?
An episode that is thematically confused on its ambiguous concept of power.
Some call it a force and claim to use it. But we know the thread is not a power you wield.
The Jedi are good.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. But we know the thread is not a power you wield.
You should just shut up.
It's
You
just
should
like,
shut up. I love you and you should
but
shut
that is
up.
the beauty.
But what does make sense is so overtly on the nose that you can virtually smell what this gruel of a show got too much and not enough of before it even tries to spoon-feed itself to you.
I told you this planet would be a safe haven for our coven.
It's not going to stay safe if Osha keeps running away.
The galaxy is not a place that welcomes women like us.
We were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life.
I carried them.
I created them.
It's clear that writing a story around these kinds of characters, dialogue, and themes were likely prioritized over writing a compelling and coherent show within itself.
If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. Steel or laser are no threat to them. But an Acolyte kills without a weapon.
So that was a fucking lie.
I may be a very new and small channel at the time of this video's making, but I'm currently doing reactions to each episode weekly and plan on doing a full review after all the episodes have aired. Having you subscribe, watch, and be along for the ride as we grow this channel and audience together would be appreciated immensely. Well, if this series was intended to be the gayest Star Wars, this episode was certainly the gayest one yet.
Are you wondering if it's gay to have sex with your own clone? Because if it's between two consenting adults, it's... who cares? Cool.
The highly controversial episode aired on Disney Plus on June 11th, and until then, the running narrative was that Headland doubled down on the Acolyte being known as the gayest Star Wars.
But people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly...
You're offended?
Into it.
One would think that with this episode being the most obviously lesbian-coded episode, Leslye Headland would stand by it and double down at all costs. After all, she is a lesbian woman, and this is very much her show, and scarcely anyone else's. By the time June 13th arrives, an article on the Star Wars website goes up, and the first two paragraphs paint an interesting picture in regards to the creative choices made in episode 3 of The Acolyte, specifically the witches. The author Kristen Baver quotes Leslye Headland. Dave Filoni very quickly became kind of a mentor of mine in terms of navigating what this part of the timeline would be like for both the Jedi and the other Force users, Headland says. It was kind of this aha moment for me when he told me, you know, not all witches are Night Sisters. This seems like a very Sith-like move from Headland, almost like she's pulling a very sneaky Sheev on old Dave here. Sounds to me like the master taught her everything she knew, and then the apprentice killed him in his sleep.
Figuratively.
And after episode 3's nuclear crater of fallout, no, not that one. It seems Leslye Headland wants to not only shift some creative blame over to Dave Filoni, but she is willing to sell out the lesbian representation in their show in order to do so. Does it seem like Leslye Headland is throwing Dave Filoni and their lesbian representation in Star Wars under the bus after the Acolyte Episode 3 backlash? Let me know what you think down below, and thanks for watching.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
You should just shut up.
It's
You
just
should
like,
shut up. I love you and you should
but
shut
that
up.
is the beauty.